How can we play a cowardly character without derailing the story or wrecking the game for the other players at the table? Well, I have got the perfect case study and I'd like to share it with you right now. Friends and neighbors, I give you Malik from the 1984 camp classic Conan the Destroyer. The actor depicting Malik is a fella named Tracy Walter, who is also famous in the cult status for playing Miller, the car mechanic who refuses to learn how to drive in the cult classic Repo Man, and Bob the Goon in the 1989 Batman movie.
Bob, gun.
Fun fact, there was an action figure made of Bob the Goon. It came with a gun, a Bowie knife, a hat, and it could kick. My brother had that action figure. It's a lot of fun, but I digress.
I'm immortalized, baby.
In Conan the Destroyer, Malik is the cowardly thief who acts as Conan's sidekick. He is also a source of most of the comic relief in the movie, which is the very first quality of the cowardly character that I would like to look into right now. D&D and other high fantasy games are usually heroic games by their very nature. To play a character that is not heroic is to be almost completely out of place, and the fish out of water dynamic lends itself to comedy very, very easily. But that doesn't mean that your character has to be a buffoon, and it doesn't mean that your character can't be useful and can't be lethal. So let's take Malik. In the opening scene of the movie, Malik is counting up the booty from their last caper, and Conan is having a silent prayer for his lost love. Some baddies show up, and what is the first thing that Malik does?
I think we made the merchant angry.
He cowers and he hides. There's a big ol' fight scene that happens next in which Conan does a bunch of Conan stuff, but Malik proves very useful in this combat as well. Being a coward doesn't mean that he can't or doesn't fight. What it means is that he picks his moments. Of course, a subsequent athletics check don't always pan out, and getting trapped underneath that body is a thing that happened. One of the things that Malik as a character has going for him is that he knows who he is, and he knows what he is capable of.
I know when to steal and when not to.
Just because you're playing a coward doesn't mean that your character is not capable. In fact, I would argue that being cowardly makes you a better thief because you're less likely to get caught if your head is always on a swivel looking for the threat. Often in our games, the party must charge into the stronghold of the big bad on a rescue mission, or perhaps to get some treasure out, or go after the big bad. The obvious problem with this is that cowards are not exactly known for charging into danger. Certainly not on purpose. So, does your character stand on their cowardly business, or...
Somebody should stay and watch the horses.
Malik!
It didn't mean me.
do they get browbeaten by the party's barbarian? It's also worth mentioning, Malik likes and respects his friend Conan. He wants to be there for his friend, and he wants to earn some respect himself, which is an important note for anyone playing a coward. Fear is not the only motivator, not even for your cowardly character. Later, when getting at the big bad becomes even tougher, the coward has an opportunity to falter again.
Under here is a way in.
You mean under the water?
So how can a player trick their own cowardly character into proceeding?
You can stay here if you like.
Alone?
Remember, every character has things that they fear, but the coward always has something that they fear even more. That is the most direct and easiest method to get your cowardly character, or a JM, to get the cowardly character to move forward when things get tougher. It also helps if the character can lie to themselves a little bit.
They need me.
Now what happens when the good guys get cornered and your barbarian fighter decides?
Enough talk.
Then it's time to hide again. But if you'll notice, Malik is not simply cowering. He has drawn his knives and made himself ready. He's still committed to being useful to the party. To do that, he must prepare himself and wait for his moment. That is how to keep your character useful to your party, even if your character is terrified and staying away from the thickest part of the action. So now what happens when the party decides to run into danger for no reason, for no real gain? What happens when your party decides they're gonna do some heroing? What happens when you genuinely think it is time for your cowardly character to plant their feet and stand on business?
Where are we going?
To Shadisar,
What for?
to stop chain of sacrifice.
But it's her destiny. It can't be stopped.
You don't have to come.
I will.
I will.
I won't! I mean, what's in it for us? What are we, some charitable institution? We're thieves!
When I'm GMing games like this and I watch a character stand on the business of their character, how could I fault that player for playing their character as their character would be? But that just means when it's time for the coward to stand on coward's business, it's time for the GM to give them more reasons to move forward. It is up to the GM to present them with something that they are running towards or something they fear more to run away from.
Go! I won't help!
As you watch your friends ride away, suddenly you hear the mob that you just escaped from, and the sound is getting louder.
Hey! Hey, wait for me!
The character can rationalize their own actions any old way they like, just as long as they continue moving forward and keep the game going and keep the party together.
You know you can't do without me! Go! Wait, Conan, wait!
Last but not least, there is no law that says your cowardly character is not beyond or above the occasional act of bravery. Your fighter about to get killed by the big bag? Maybe throw a Hail Mary. Boom! Nat 20. And the fight has taken a turn for the better. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean your cowardly character has given up on listening to their fears. But it also doesn't mean the coward is wrong when they say that it is time to... Playing a cowardly character does not mean that you play a completely obstinate character, or even a character that is entirely devoid of any courage. Really, it only means that the courage comes harder to that character. That can make it all the more impactful when that character does stick up for their party. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have cool, cowardly character moments that you have seen or perpetrated at your table, please, oh please, tell me the story down below in the comments. I live for stories like this. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, thank you for listening, and may your dice roll high and never be cursed.